Hi there, friends. Welcome to the monthly edition of Stardom Circle. In the year 2000, Fortune 500 companies was, led by titans of the industries and CEOs and all those high-fi jet people, in the jets. They were all traveling all over the world. The CEOs seemed unbeatable. Fast forward to today, over 52% of those companies don't even exist, right? Not because the market collapsed, not because technology failed them, but because their leaders became irrelevant. Kodak, if you remember, once a household name that invented the digital camera, but kind of dismissed it, thinking film would always dominate. And Nokia laughed at smartphones, didn't they? Blockbuster, the company, had a chance to buy Netflix for a mere 50 million and passed the offer. I mean, these weren't failures of intelligence of their leaders, they were failures of adaptation, my friends. Leadership irrelevancy that we are going to talk about today, that isn't a slow decline, it's an instant obituary. And the question is not if, but when it will happen. So today, let's talk about how to stay relevant as a leader. I'm going to, share my screen. I have a few points that I've made. I want to share with you. I'm so excited about this. And not only about irrelevancy at the leadership levels, but also I'm going to share 5 big needle movers, 5 big strategies that you could use to steer away from irrelevancy and continue to stay relevant this decade and maybe the next decade as well, with all the advancement that is happening in different areas of the technology industry. Now let's explore irrelevancy first. Let's see what are all the problems, the issues, and then also explore what solutions are available, what you and I can do in order to stay relevant in the industry that you are already in. And before we go further, time to turn off your phone or put it on silent mode and whip out those notebooks so that you can make notes while we talk. And it's going to be, I'm thinking it's going to be an hour-long conversation we have here, a few minutes here and there. So without much ado, let's begin. Let me share my screen real quick. I will share my window here. Share. Here we go. Perfect. All right. So today we are talking about relevancy challenge. I'm sure you are here because you already have reached your leadership roles. You're already in leadership roles, or you're reaching there, or otherwise. I mean, you are a founder or an entrepreneur or an expert or a coach or a mentor or an advisor. You had years, maybe decades of experience behind you. You already have achieved so much in your industry, in your life, in your business. Now, people look up to you for advice, but inside you are, or maybe feeling that the technology is advancing so fast and things are moving so rapidly and industries are getting disrupted. Maybe you are disrupting the industry from your own advancements, but disruption is happening anyway. And there could be the possibility of going irrelevant. And let's understand that, because if we want to remove that nail of irrelevancy from our head, first we need to be aware that there is a nail, because irrelevancy is an invisible nail that is being pounded on the heads of most leadership today. If they don't realize that, if they don't become aware, they stay impervious. They think they are impervious. They are going to be hugely disappointed, my friends. So the topic today is relevancy challenge, how to stay relevant, how to stay competitive in a digitized world today. And also the focus that I want to have today is why, first of all, leaders and experts and entrepreneurs, specialists of today could face irrelevancy very soon, and how to combat it. The reason why we are talking about irrelevancy today is the fast-paced advancement. For example, if you could let's say, bring back a person from the Stone Age to, let's say, the time of, let's say, the 1000-year AD. I mean, they would be shocked truly, but they would not be that much surprised because not much changed in those 10,000 years. But if you bring a person from 1000 AD to, let's say, 1800s or 1700, before all this modern motor cars, everything were invented, they would be in for a rude shock. But it took 800 years. And then, let's say, if you bring back somebody from 1800s to 1900s, I mean, they would be rudely shaken because now they see all these big metal objects hurling at them at ridiculous speeds, and they would die of a heart attack as soon as they see. And if somebody from even 300 years back, if you revive someone from, let's say, 1700s to today, they would rather go back to their grave because they don't understand a little bit of what's happening here. We are, even from 20 years ago to compared to today, everything around us has changed, hasn't it? The way we go to work, we work, and we lead our day-to-day lives, the mobile phones, the social media, the internet, all this. If you see someone, or if you happen to know someone from the pre-internet era, someone who is really, really old, they will tell you like their world was totally different. You go watch some old movies, their world is so different than today's. So that's why earlier generations, they didn't have to face the irrelevancy challenge because they used to get a job. They used to spend 10, 20 years studying and getting that job or learning a skill, and spend the next 30, 40 years doing the same thing. And they would never get irrelevant because there was always demand for what they were doing, but not today, my friends. So let's explore the challenge, and let's see all these ideas behind it, and also explore some needle movers on how we can overcome this or what needs to be done. All right. So as we are rightly discussing, irrelevancy is going to be one of the biggest threats for especially the leaders and the management of organizations, because that's where irrelevancy is going to hit the most. I mean, if you remember General Motors, for example, or Pacific Electric, or WorldCom and Washington Mutual, there are hundreds of other companies. Some of the biggest companies, they went bankrupt. I mean, there are thousands of other lesser known companies as well in every part of the world. I mean, in every industry that were once great, but today disappeared permanently, wiping off trillions of dollars of wealth, of their investors, and also employees went bankrupt in many cases. Amongst all the different reasons for such disappearing acts, one of the most common is they lost their relevancy. They lost their relevancy. They became irrelevant, and then anything they did, to keep themselves and their companies afloat didn't work, didn't matter actually. I remember I have a report by McKinsey here that concluded that both entrepreneurs and businesses or business leaders alike, they have consistently emphasized that the single most important thing to achieve and sustain market leadership is going to be relevance, both corporate and, more importantly, at top leadership levels as well. So relevancy is essential to market leadership and ultimate success. If you want to go to the next level, you must, whether you like it or not, you must think about relevancy today. Next point that I wanted to make is, I would like to reiterate Steve's philosophy on, reinvention, and he always used to come back and say, we need to reinvent. Reinvent became their kind of a motto earlier. So I love that, because what if Steve Jobs was stuck, or Apple was stuck at doing iPods? Because iPods were good, but what if they were stuck at doing only iPods and not reinvented themselves every year like they do? And even in my own company at Stardom Circle and Stardom Books, every year we sit and brainstorm and reinvent ourselves so that we can bring in more innovative approaches, more better results for our clients, and improve our systems, improve our processes, improve our distribution. Every year consistently we have been doing this. And that's what has kept us very relevant and excited. And that's where the energy flows, my friends. Energy flows where the action goes, right? And there are so many industries and individuals who either failed or thrived based on their ability to adapt, So that's why I say there is something called as relevancy trifecta that I want to teach you today. So the three critical areas that you can become irrelevant in the next maybe few years or a few months. We don't know. A lot of things are happening right now, which can also lead to job loss for many people, and income loss, revenue loss for many people. Many people may have to move from one location to another location, one geography to another, because of all the big changes that are happening. So let's explore what I call as the relevancy trifecta, where it is going to hurt. First, let's explore those areas. Number one, I call it as the trifecta, which involves just like this triangle here on the screen. The first area is the jobs or skills. That's where people can go irrelevant. The second is the industry. I mean, whole industries could get disrupted and can disappear. And third area is self, as a person, personal self-development. So let's explore all three. Number one is number one is job or skills. I mean, this is, I would say, it's the most common area of going out of relevancy, isn't it? Because of all the technology that is coming, new things that are happening. Gone are the days when you become an expert in a skill, you acquire that skill, and then use that same skill throughout your life. It's definitely gone. That's so old world, I would say. Your skills today won't even serve you for the next 5 years, my friends, considering all the advancements that is happening in the world, right? So that's where people could get really, really irrelevant. Second area where people could get irrelevant is the industry. Entire industries are getting disrupted in big ways, in sweeps, like clean sweeps. And it's just a matter of time that your industry, also whichever industry you're in right now, also joins the same league. Even if you are in the AI industry, which is the latest, even that will get disrupted over a period. It's just a matter of time, isn't it? And because of the new industries that are popping up, earlier industries. Now, imagine you got a skill like earlier when I was growing up, learning how to type, like using a typewriter, was a very interesting skill. In fact, my father asked me, put me in a class that teaches typewriting, the traditional typing machines. And that was big back then, learning how to type and learning how to do shorthand. These two were very interesting and important skills, irrespective of what you're going to do in your life, whether you're learning science or commerce or you're going to become a lawyer, whatever you're going to do. These two skills were so important back then. Today, you decide. So look around. Every damn thing has changed during the last 5, 10, 15 years or so, right? Some are gone. Some are, reinvented, like they have reinvented themselves in many different ways. And many are stagnant, like they're still holding on or hanging on to their old world practices, old world beliefs. They're not really ready to pull their nail off their head and still struggling. So that's where it can hurt. And the third area is self, which means, think of it this way. Every cell in our body gets discarded and new cells are replaced once every, I think, 120 days or so, right? Biological fact. Well, in a way, you are a new you every quarter, isn't it? New you every quarter. So self-mastery is kind of no different, right? Self-mastery is always going to be there. I mean, you are in leadership roles, you always understand that. I mean, you always seek to get new things. You're an innovator, you're a visionary, you constantly want to develop yourself so that you can also develop your team, you can lead better. So if you want to be still relevant in this decade and the next decade, you must look at self-improvement and continuous development. That should be your go-to strategies for self-improvement. And if you're not improving every day, you're decaying, my friend. That's so blunt, but excuse me for saying that, but that's the truth, my friend. All right. So how do I say that, or how did I come to these conclusions? Let me share that with you. David Keane, like, he's the head of marketing at Google for work. That's the department. And he has revealed about Google for work and Recontour research that shows 86% of all the companies with more than 6,000 employees believe securing the organization's relevance is either their top priority or is it about to become a top priority. It's similar story for smaller businesses with 62% of organizations with fewer than 250 employees or staff. They are saying the same thing, right? And here's another slide that I wanted to share with you. The annual survey titled Executive Perspectives on Top Risks for 2021 and 2030, this period, the 10-year period, was conducted by global consulting firm Probity and North Carolina State University Poole College of Management department, like Enterprise Risk Management Initiative. They conclude that relevancy, cybersecurity, and privacy are the top 3 risks for CEOs across industries and across geographies. This is a study, right? So what does this mean? This means the threat is real, my friend. But don't worry, because I have the solutions I'm going to offer you. I not only bring you problems, but I will also get solutions for you, some possible solutions as well. Maybe you have your own solutions too. Let's explore. And here's another one. The biggest threat to business is simply staying relevant. That is another, my opinion, theme. All right. So we know, and I don't have to give you more proof, that relevancy at leadership levels is going to be super, super important. And since we are talking about leadership, that's what we do and talk at Stardom Circle, because this is Stardom Circle event. So I only talk about big issues, big needle movers at top leadership levels, whether you are a CEO or a CXO or a business leader or an entrepreneur, a specialist or a coach or a trainer who deal with these kind of specialists. You need to be aware of these ideas. And next, I'm also going to share what you can do, the solution part. All right. So enough of the problem statements. Let's head right to the solutions part. And here are the 5 big strategies that not only help you stay relevant, but also propel you to thrive and also grow at the same time. They always say that on that line of growth, there is no such thing as maintaining a balance, And if you try to balance, you're going to fall off. It's a very thin line. Either you're moving forward or you're sliding backward. If you're moving forward, that means you're growing. If you're moving backward, you're declining. There's no such thing as staying stable, staying in equilibrium. No, business world, it doesn't happen, my friends. So here are 5 big strategies. Number 1 is influence. And I will give you 3 pieces of suggestions on influence. or how to increase your influence, because the more influential you are, the more relevant you become. And influence is not something that you can gain overnight, and it takes months or years to gather, and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger over a period of time. So your circle of influence, you need to focus on that. And there are many different ways to increase that circle of influence. Like, influence means, what I'm saying is, maybe your fans and followers, or your contacts, or the people who either you know directly or indirectly, and you have a positive influence on them, so that you can influence them to take actions based on their benefit, not your benefit. If you do that for your benefit, then it is manipulation, right? Influence is in a positive way. I'm saying influence people in a positive way, so that they take actions that you ask them to take, so that it benefits them and you and the entire world at large, the society at large. All right. So now, how do you develop more influence? Number one way, build deep connections. So today we are the attention span, which is fleeting across. Attention spans are coming down and down and down. So most of these connections and relationships that we are getting into, I feel they are very superficial in nature at the top, because we have so many people to cater to. Earlier, it was like 100 people, you develop deeper connections with all those 100 people. Today, you have maybe thousands or tens of thousands, depending on your network, on social media, your contact list. So it's important to focus on building deeper connections with people, so that you can exert more influence. Second big idea is motivate and inspire others. It may not be your job to motivate and inspire others, but you need to do, because that is going to create more influence. But that is going to expand your influence. That is going to exert your influence on other people. How do people become more influential? Think of all those people who have influenced you. Either they, taught you how to think, they role modeled you, they challenged you in some way. That's how they motivated you, inspired you. So you need to do the same to other people, so that you expand your influence and as a result, you continue to stay relevant, my friend. All right. So teach more people on how to think and how to act, in terms of action, and how to lead. And you lead by example. That's how you become more influential. There are other ways, but these are the basic stuff. Now, coming to the second part, which is something connected with influence, is connections. And when I say connections, I want to share two pieces of advice here. Number one is, build your own tribe or fan following. What do I mean by that? Let's say your favorite social media platform is, let's say, Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok or any other social media for that matter. You don't own that. The network that you have, the connections that you have, you don't own them, right? So if you depend your entire influence on these other platforms, you don't actually own them. It's happening all over the world. It's happened again and again. Maybe they will kick you out. Maybe they will shut down your account, or maybe you will stop finding the platform aligned with your value systems. That has happened too. So many people walked out of Twitter, for different reasons. So all those social media platforms, all those networks you think are your own are really not your own. They are on some other platform. So you need to have your own loyal tribe of people. Let's say you have a loyal fan following. I'm not asking you to build your own LinkedIn network. If you move to some network or another network, they will also move with you. That is what I mean by loyal fan following. They're loyal to you. So you need to build that. You need to proactively create that fan following. They don't happen by accident or by chance. You need to do it by choice. All right. And then in order to expand those connections, you need to share your experiences. You need to share your lessons. You need to share your struggles so that they get inspired and they follow you. You getting my point? I mean, it's not anymore about sitting behind a desk, behind a big title like the CEO or the CXO, the director, president. It's not going to be enough, my friends. You need to be more authentic, connect more deeply by sharing your stories, your experiences, and relatable instances so that people can relate with you. They feel, okay, this person is also someone like us, and this person can lead us. Because you're a leader, you need to prove to the people that you can lead, you have the capabilities to lead, and you do that by sharing stories, as simple as that, about yourself, what's going on around you. Big idea number 3, courage. This is huge, folks. This is huge. Courage. I mean, how do you demonstrate courage? Again, courage is kind of a feeling, right? It is not that very clear. It's kind of a blob, I mean, inside your mind. And how do you experience courage? I mean, how do you demonstrate courage? Number 1 big idea is stand for something that is meaningful. Stand up for something meaningful. You take a stand. You draw the line, and you say, I am for this, I'm not for this. This is my value, this is not my value. So when you start expressing what you stand for, what you believe in, see, as I say in business, people don't buy what you produce. People buy what you believe in, right? If you show or demonstrate your beliefs, your values, what you stand for, what's meaningful to you, then that will create that bond, and people will see that if someone is standing for this value, then I also stand for this value. So as Mark Manson says in his new book, people who like the same things like each other. People who hate the same things also like each other. People who like or hate different things hate each other. Beautifully said. All right. So courage is about standing up for something and sharing your values, and also leading boldly to create trust. So you need to lead. The 2 parts of this. First of all, leading boldly, because you take the stand, confidence comes. You lead boldly. You say that I'm going to lead this industry, or this thought leadership, or this area of expertise. And then you also create trust by leading people successfully through this. It could be your program, it could be your insights, it could be your story. But people need to trust you. How do they trust you? They see your boldness, they see your belief systems, they see your courage and confidence, so that they follow you. That's what creates more relevancy, my friend. Remember, let's go back to the premise here. We are creating more relevancy for leaders, for leadership, people in your role, people in leadership roles. Number 4 is clarity. Number 4 is clarity. So what do I mean by clarity? I mean, most businesses or leaders fail to communicate with clarity. They think or expect their teams or their employees to know certain their vision as a leader. But good leaders or great leaders, they communicate their vision with extreme clarity. I mean, they don't stop communicating or end their communication channels until the other person understands with 100% clarity on their messaging. I have worked with so many authors in leadership roles in different industries, and some of them, and particularly one of them said, my team thinks I am a Caduce boss. And Caduce in Hindi is very strict. I mean, very kind of a headmaster, like will that kind of a person. So I asked him why. Why do they think you're caduce or you're so super strict? And he was unable to give me a good answer. But I thought maybe he's not clearly uh, articulating his ideas or breaking it down into understandable levels of comprehension. And then when we worked on this idea for a while, and I shared this tactic with him, he said, after a few weeks, he said, Ram, you were right. Now I feel my team understands me. Now they also feel that I'm not like as caduce as they thought I was. Now we feel more camaraderie, more friendly conversations. I feel they understand me more now, and they have told me that they find me friendlier than before. That is about maintaining clarity. Maintaining your clarity in three big areas. Number one, your vision, and then your purpose and your communication. Make sure people understand you in all these areas. Go until they completely get what you're saying, your vision, your purpose, and your communication. And next big point is avoid confusion or mixed messaging. Don't assume people have understood, because sometimes they also get confused. So as a leader and in charge of leadership communication, you are not only expected to communicate effectively, but also make sure there are no confusions, there are no hanging ideas that that are confusing, and also you don't give any mixed messaging, either this or that, some vague messaging. As a leader, you need to give very clear message so that you bring a lot of clarity, not only to your messaging, you also bring more clarity to your leadership team as well, so that when there is more clarity, people know that you can bring more clarity, you can clear there, you're a problem solver. So people come to you to solve problems because you're so good at that, you're so good at being clear in communication. So the next one, the last one, excuse me, is like just what I did, recalibration of my throat so that I can talk to you for some more time. So embrace self-mastery, which is recalibration is all about yourself, self-mastery to handle maybe stress or overwhelm or new challenges. So adapting to new challenges can become stressful sometimes. So embrace yourself and be ready to recalibrate at frequent intervals. So that way you will be ready for any big changes that are coming. You're not shaken by surprise, or you're not taken by surprise. And leadership, I believe, is all about who you are and not just what you do. Leadership is all about who you are, and most often it's about leadership is about who you are, not what you do. So if you are, as a person, recalibrating yourself, reinventing yourself, and communicating with clarity, standing up for a cause or standing up for that belief, what you believe in, the courage, the confidence, and looking to expand your influence in different ways by building deeper connections, and always strategically. I mean, as a business leader, you're strategic, right? These are all tactics. You apply them as strategies. I mean, that's what we do at Stardom Books as well. Stardom Books is our publishing house. And we were the first publishing house. I actually coined this word, BAS, BAS, book as a strategy. I mean, I saw that many people could use this as a strategy instead of just as an aspirational value, isn't it? Writing a book as a strategy, using it strategically to achieve their goals, achieve their aspirations, that can be tied into different ways. So that's how reinventing and adapting and taking over the relevancy challenge will help you become more victorious. All right. Okay. Next big point. I would also like to share some do's and don'ts at this about relevancy. And see, the reason I want to share some do's and don'ts is relevancy itself is a fleeting topic, right? Whatever we are talking about right now, they lose its relevancy in future, but the principles will remain the same, right? Because change is the only constant. Like, who said that? Einstein said that? Maybe somebody said that, some scientist. I think it was Albert Einstein. Change is the only constant. And one form of change is getting irrelevant. The effect of change is becoming irrelevant. So what do we need to do? What should we not do? Do's and don'ts. Let's explore. Number one, let's say from the do's section, do embrace reinvention regularly. I mean, it's not, I mean, it shouldn't be stressful for you to welcome change, because change is not, what can I say? Change is very uncomfortable for all of us, right? But we need to have this mindset to embrace reinvention. If the word change causes stress, swap that with reinvention. That is more positive and empowering, isn't it? So embrace reinvention regularly, especially if you're having a product or a service that you're offering. Don't think that your product is completely ready for the world. You can now sell billions of pieces or copies of that. You need to keep going back, reinventing. I mean, that's what is perfection, right? If you keep offering, making changes, and then reinventing, going back again to the market. So this cycle should keep happening. So that will keep improving your offers. All right. So in order to do that, you need to embrace reinvention at a regular basis. For me, at my company, Stardom Books, we reinvent deliberately every year. We have this as a ritual now. Every year we reinvent. I mean, we sit and discuss what's working, what's not working, what can be improved, what can be done better, how can we provide greater customer experience, customer satisfaction, bring better results. That's what we do. And the second big do is connect deeply with your audience or your team. We already shared some strategies for that, to how to build deeper connections with your team, with your people, with your customers, with your clients, your interactions online, offline. Don't think, I mean, you put some video out there and people will see that video on the, I mean, even when you are not aware of the people who are watching your videos on social media, let's say, you still need to go deeper and build deeper connections with that audience. You need to look at each person in the eye and tell them, I like you, I trust you, I believe what you believe in. By disclosing what you actually believe, sharing your insights, sharing your stories, connecting authentically with people. And sometimes sharing authentic stories also involves sharing your biggest failures sometimes. I mean, and what lessons did you learn from those failures? I mean, those kind of transparency, I mean, I would call it as transparency. Transparency as a, from the leader's perspective, that builds very deep connections, actually. And the third big do is maintain clarity in communication and your leadership, because when you are able to communicate clearly, especially in your role as a leader, you create more conducive environment for your team to follow you, respect you, and they allow you to. It's not about, I am leading this organization, or I'm leading this group of people, I'm leading this industry or my audience. It's the other way around, my friends. It is, they're allowing you to lead them. These people, your team, your clients, They have trusted you. They have allowed you to lead them. So it's your job to lead them to better places than before, get them better results. I mean, it's a responsible position to be a leader, isn't it? So maintain the clarity in communication and in your leadership. And what are the don'ts? I mean, there are some don'ts here. Number one is don't rely on past successes and adapt to new realities. I mean, this has been a core message of this entire conversation, isn't it? Don't rely. Past success doesn't mean that you're going to succeed in future as well. Plain and simple, common sense, right? The new realities are coming up every day. I mean, nobody knew that ChatGPT or Open AI is going to come up with these things, and nobody knew there's one more, Deep Seek. Yeah, Deep Seek is coming up, and maybe there are others that will follow. Not only in technology, disruptions are going to happen in all forms of or all kinds of industries, all walks of life. Everything is going to change, right? So be ready. Don't rely on, I've been successful so far, and I don't need to change in the future. That is going to be very, very defeating, my friend. So don't rely on past success, adapt to new realities. And second big idea is avoid becoming stagnant in a skill or thought. I mean, which means don't just rely on one important skill that you can pick up today or learn today. You, in the back of your mind, you already know that one is not enough. You need to look at the adjacent skills. You need to look at the industry trends. You need to pick up new thought patterns, maybe self-improvement. So that is always going to be there. And that's why, I mean, these are the elements that will stop you from becoming stagnant. It will, get you away from becoming stagnant. And also, don't neglect the power of influence and connections, because most often, I owe all my success because of my influence and my connections. The people who influence me, the people I influence upon. So both ways, it works both ways. All right. And also the connections, when you see all other people in your connections, they all go up together. They all lift up. A good leader will not only push from behind, also pulls up people to higher levels, right? So don't neglect that power of influence, because unless you have influence, you cannot move people. You cannot create your movements. And movement in the sense, you're creating your own movement from one place to the other, one situation to the next, to a better situation. You move the people to the next level. Can't do that without influence and connections, because today trust and connections and credibility and all these elements are all lying on the bedrock of influence. Without influence, nothing can happen. All right. So what's the first thing to do? I mean, if I had to give you the next big step right after this call, Ram, what do you want me to do? First thing you need is you download the workbook at Stardom Circle, and that is available in the members area. If you're not a member of Stardom Circle, you need to become a member. It's less than $1 a day. We do this live streaming every month. One important big lesson. Plus, there are so many other exciting benefits waiting for you in Stardom Circle membership. Go explore that. First thing you need to do is take stock of your current relevance in the 3 key areas: self, skills, and industry. Take stock of these situations. Take stock of the of your particular relevance, where you stand in all these 3 key areas, and then develop a plan to build influence, connections, and clarity. Develop a plan to build influence, connections, and clarity. Next, the first things to do is consider writing a book if you have not already written, so that you can solidify your thought leadership and also future-proof your relevancy, right? And if you've already written a book, what to do? Maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, write another one. Write a second book about the latest developments, maybe. Share more insights. Share the insights that you did not share in your first book, which are more relevant today. There are so many different angles to writing a book. We'll explore when we get a chance to do that. So these are the first things to do after this call. Download the workbook if you are a Stardom Circle member, and begin developing a plan to build that influence and connections and clarity and your belief systems and your courage, all these elements. And then consider writing a book to strengthen your leadership. Because remember, we are talking about relevance. So who is more relevant? Now, someone who has written a book on the topic. Is that person, he or she, is more relevant today than someone who is having 10, 20 years of experience in that industry. I mean, it's very simple. You can, let's think through this way. Like, let's say you want an expert in programming. Okay. I'm a programmer too. Like, I started my journey as a programmer. I used to program in COBOL, Unix, C, C++, those days, 80s and 90s. I mean, I can call myself a programmer. I'm having like 25, 30 years of experience in programming in all these different areas. But who is more skilled today? Am I still relevant, first of all, in programming? Definitely not, because who is using COBOL today? Who is using C, C++ today? Nobody, right? Today, AI systems can generate better program than I sit and code, right? So I can't call myself as a COBOL expert with 25 years of experience. But what if I write a book on programming, the concepts of programming, the tools that are available for I suddenly become more relevant with today's data. I don't even have to learn or teach today's programming, but by putting a recording all together, interviewing other experts, writing a book about it, I become relevant. Suddenly I become relevant today. Maybe that relevancy will get me another 5 years, 10 years the time as being relevant. That is good. And then we have to reinvent. Remember, reinvent again and again and again, on and on. All right. So consider writing a book if you're not done so at Stardom Books. And here's where to go if you're not a member of Stardom Circle yet. If you're watching this video or a snippet of this video anywhere, or if you're watching live, because we don't give replays or recordings of these sessions anywhere outside of Stardom Circle. Either you have to be online and on the calls to get these ideas, or you have to be a Stardom Circle member to access replays for the next 3 months. So join at stardomcircle.com and unlock replays and access to full growth, authority, and influence course. There's a full course in the members area, and enjoy over $4,000 worth of benefits within the members area. You can join right away. Plus, you will also gain access to the advanced sessions like this every month for the entire year. So it's less than $1 a day. Go do that if this is right for you. Or if you are already a Stardom Circle member, good for you. You can access the replays. And the next step for you, if you have already written a book or want to write one, if you want to write your next book, if you already written one, schedule a call with our highly trained publishing advisors to discuss your next book idea or the first book idea. Get expert recommendations that align with your goals and your aspirations, and how to take this dream of becoming an internationally published author with Stardom Books. With our help, we have our full teams working with you. We have our writers, editors, formatting experts, and publishing experts, and we also take care of marketing, distribution, inventory, everything from idea to launch and beyond. So you can schedule a call at stardombooks.com/meeting. That's where you go to schedule a call. So folks, thank you for joining me on this call, and I hope you wrote down some ideas, maybe something sparked here and there. And I wish you all the best for staying relevant, because your leadership is so important. Your experience is very valuable. Your insights shouldn't dive with you. I mean, your experience, your insights, your perspective, your knowledge, that should be shared with other people effectively. And Stardom Circle is one such group of leaders, growth oriented leaders, that I'm so happy to be associated with. And I feel I'm blessed to be associated with all of you guys here at Stardom Circle. And perhaps we'll also meet physically sometimes. We are organizing some in-person events coming up. In-person events are coming up this year. So until then, until next month, or within next month, I will also be going live to to do some book summaries and other strategies and book deconstructions. There are so many different things that we do every month. We'll meet again, and we'll meet on this kind of online session again next month. Until then, keep smiling, believe in yourself, and get all the best things in life.